Hi, Gerhard Bloom, once again looking at the tyranny and the delusions of the social justice movement. So yeah, a news reporter asked Karine Jean-Pierre, White House press secretary, what the administration's thoughts are on this growing anti-Semitism. In light of, violent attacks against Jews, the pulling down of hostages, innocent civilians being held, whose lives are being held in the balance, including babies, right? Babies. American citizens. Yeah, not Israeli citizens, American citizens. And citizens from numerous countries around the world. Sadly, that German tourist, she didn't make it. After being violently raped, she was murdered. But, there's other hostages that are being held. And parades and chants in support of Hamas and the Palestinians from the river to the sea, right? This is a call for genocide. Where are these Jews supposed to go? There is no place to go for them. Israel is an island of civilization, sanity, and democracy surrounded by civilizational barbarism. There is no place for them to go. If Hamas had its way, every last citizen in Israel would be murdered, except, of course, the Arab Israelis, right, have every right and freedom of other Jewish Israeli citizens. But yeah, they won't get slaughtered, but everybody else slaughtered, put to the knife. And yeah, antifada chants. And yes, a pro-Palestine march through Skokie, Illinois. Skokie, Illinois, that might resonate with you. Yeah, that was the famous location for a Nazi rally, actual Nazis, marching through Skokie, showing that they have the right for free speech. Well, now the fascists in religious clothing, the Muslims, they've marched through there. Absolutely awful. So Karine Jean-Pierre, she's asked about this. It all of a sudden becomes about Islamophobia. Check out my video on Islamophobia. It is utter nonsense. Beheadings, stonings, female genital mutilation, cutting people's heads off with a rusty butter knife. Yeah, that Islamophobia. If you aren't concerned about Islam, and just look out your window and see these militants marching through the streets calling for the death of Jews, right? No, not Israelis, Jews, right? It's a murderous, genocidal ideology. And across Europe. So she's worried about the Muslims and about Islamophobia? How deluded could she be? In the midst of attacks and taunts against Jews, American Jews, she's worried about the Muslims. There was a comedian, excuse me, I forget his name, but he said, thank goodness, these, Al-Qaeda didn't launch a nuclear weapon into the United States, because God, how bad would the Islamophobia have been after that attack? Insane. At any rate, there's been some pushback, and good. This leftist oppression narrative, decolonization, it is poisonous nonsense. It started in academia, of course, pointy-headed leftists. Decolonization. They started with the institutions, right? Decolonizing art, decolonizing literature, decolonizing science. Yeah, too many, white men. So we've got to decolonize it. And the home of the Jews. Yes, for millennia. Judea, Samaria, Jerusalem, Jewish. There was never a Palestinian state, nor is there a Palestinian people. They're Arabs. They flooded into the region. When the Jews came in, many of them started settling there, bought land from absentee landowners, whilst under the control of the Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire controlled that entire Muslim region, right, from Turkey, Syria, Lebanon, what is now Israel, Ottoman Empire. These Jewish settlers bought land from absentee landowners. And after the Jews had done the heavy lifting, providing clean water, and sanitation, and health, and agriculture, the Arabs flooded in. So, no. Anyways, this poisonous leftist nonsense, oppressor oppressed, and, the white Jews versus the dark Palestinians. No, they were Jews that escaped because they got pushed out of, not Eritrea, Ethiopia, black, right? They were welcomed in. About 800,000 Jews displaced from their homes in the wake of the first Israeli-Arab War, 1948. They took in 800,000. The Arab countries, they don't want the Palestinians. Leave them, let them rot in Palestinian refugee camps. So we can point to their suffering and dislocation, say, how awful is that? How awful? They got no place to go. Open the doors, right? Open the doors to the country. Several tried, right? Jordan, terrible political instability and problems. Lebanon, same thing. Egypt, they just recently, they are adamant. They do not want these Palestinian refugees coming in with their murderous, genocidal, militant Islamic ideology. They got enough problems in their own country with it. Anyways, thank you so much for your time and attention. If you enjoyed the video, drop a thumbs up. It gratifies my fragile male ego. And please check out my book, Deconstructing Social Justice. I walk you through this whole Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Good guys, the Jews, the bad guys, the Palestinians. And yes, it actually is that simple. And that isn't to deny that, yes, Palestinians were displaced, so were the Jews. But Israel made a home for the displaced Jews. And these murderous attacks, I've said it before, the Palestinians, this isn't a political fight, not a fight for land, it's a genocidal fight. Anti-Semitic genocidal fight. I walk you through that. I walk you through Islam. I give you, the bottom line up front. You don't have to read the stack of books I did on the subject. I give you what you need to know to understand this poisonous ideology. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And yes, the book's important, not because I wrote it. I wrote it because the issues could not be more important. Thank you so much for your time and attention now. Bye-bye.